And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Of course, brand new week. It felt like one, I guess, with Monday off being Labor Day. But here it is, Hump Day, Wednesday. And of course, a couple of shows coming at you here on this episode of the Backstage Pass, presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out to bangtail.com, easyliquor.com, and of course, our friends at Honky Tonk Texas. We are powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com, right in the middle of football season kicking off this past week, and our friends at High Tide Country. .net. Well, I tell you guys, I try to bring you the best of the best when it comes to talent in country music, and we've done it today as we welcome in Courtney Lynn and Quinn, of course, here to the Backstage Pass. How are you ladies doing?
Oh, we're great.
Fantastic.
Thank
what
you
an
so
introduction.
Much.
Thank you.
Well, you got to give a good intros in the broadcast side of things. Well, hey, I want to get the backstory as far as you guys were separate at first when it came to artists, kind of doing your own thing out there, which is pretty cool. And then the story of coming together and forming this group called Lynn and Quinn. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, so our story is long and complicated. For the sake of the time we have, I'm going to shorten it for you. Quinn and I met when we were in LA. We were both essentially couch surfing the same couch. We arrived and we were like, I thought I was sleeping here, and she thought she was sleeping there. And we just became instant best friends, and both had a shared love for music. Our paths ended up taking us, separately all over the country, but we found ourselves in the same city and state once again, and realized there was something more there, both, between one another and musically. So we came together in both of those ways.
Yeah.
I love that too. Talk about just your backgrounds on listening to those musical influences, because when I listen to your music, and we'll talk about specific songs here in just a second, include the single Found My Love and the EP, which is out there called Remiss, across all the digital platforms. The style that you guys grew up listening to, maybe some artists kind of thrown in there, musical influences, because it seemed like you both were very diverse in your selection of music.
Yeah. So I think the cool thing about Courtney and I coming together is that we do have some like different backgrounds in as far as what we grew up listening to, what we aspired to sound like. And with me, I was always like really into, jazz and soul and Motown and country and kind of all over the place. And I grew up a dancer too, so that helped with that diversity. But I really loved, like, when it came to singing, I really loved those like soulful jazzy singers, like Bonnie Raitt and Ella Fitzgerald and, Nina Simone and all those just like rich voices. And so I think that's like a lot of my history. And as far as country music, obviously,
we both have a shared love of country music. I was definitely more on the singer-songwriter side of things. Like, I've always loved Brandi Carlile and, I think of like Brett Dennen, like people with really good lyricists, and I was really into lyrics. And so, yeah, it was interesting to bring those two styles and backgrounds together.
Yeah.
Talk about, because a lot of people are doing this even now, how versatile Nashville is when it comes to the crossover neo-traditional to a little bit of that, kind of the bro country movement, rock country, a little bit of everything. How important was it for you guys to get out there for songwriter rounds, open mic nights? How important was that?
Very. As a matter of fact, that is how we developed as a band together. When we first were doing music together, even when we were doing like our own sort of thing, we would go to open mic nights together, and I would sing with Courtney on harmonies and she would sing with me, and we would do like, that kind of thing. But we found our band that is still our band today at an open mic night in Charlotte called Smokey Joe's. And it is one of the reasons we got anywhere in Charlotte was that open mic. I mean, we got our first gig booked through that open mic. We got our band through that open mic. We have several utility players we've worked with, several recording artists we've worked with through that open mic. So it was huge to do open mics, and also, just be in the artist community and network that way.
I want to go back to 2020, of course. The world shut down there March, April that year. Nobody knew what was going to happen. But you guys were very successful, at least I feel like you were, in January of that year, before it all kind of went to hell in a handbasket at the time. But Remiss came out. I mentioned that a minute ago with the EP, a song called Fire that I really enjoyed off that particular record. Talk to me about that, of course. And I guess at the time, how far you guys have grown as artists coming off something as tough as that to face that, just in a huge pandemic, but then release an EP that kind of, at least for me, it caught a little fire.
Oh, thanks. I see what you did there. I love that.
You guys.
Yeah. I mean, I think for us, like so many artists and so many people in general, we felt like we were starting at square one. And it was a weird time for musicians and for us.
Well, it was hard. It was a difficult time because, to be honest with you, like you said, we released our album in 2021 with a bang, with one of our biggest shows yet at that point in our career to do the album release. And then we were gearing up for our first tour ever. And that tour was supposed to start in April.
Wow.
And so
we actually we got rid of all of our stuff, moved our entire life into a camper, bought a truck, moved onto our friend's farm. We're like, we're going to hang out here for a couple months and then we're going to hit the road. And as we're in that waiting period, COVID happened.
Yeah.
And so we just ended up blessing in disguise, I guess, on a friend's farm in a camper. And yeah, I mean, we put the music out there, and I'm happy that people enjoyed it, especially the song Fire. People have loved that song, and we've done what we can to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, and there was definitely a little bit of a couple of songs that really caught my attention. Not just Fire, set that up the way I did, but 5 Minutes. I thought 5 Minutes was a very kind of special song. Did it for me too. Let's get the backstory of that one.
I wrote that song for Quinn because when we first started dating, she was like, "Oh, I don't want to ruin our friendship. I think this is bad timing for me. You're ready to move on too fast here." And I was just like, within like a couple weeks, I was like, let's get married. I just like had this like really sense of knowing about that she was the one for me. And so she teases me. She's like, "You paint yourself to be so patient in these songs, and you were not."
I was like, "You gave me like 5 minutes to make a choice." And that's sort of the background of the song.
But as I wrote that song, I always thought of it as being someone else's. That's the first time in my life I've ever felt that way. And obviously it's a personal story, but I just imagined this song being in like a male voice in country music. I just thought it would be so cool to hear it like that. And
she's always said she's wanted like a male vocalist, someone similar to like Dan and Shay or something like that, to do that song. Because I mean, obviously those are big names, but like that's the voices that she like hears in that song for some reason. And I'm like, well, let's just try to pitch it. We should try to pitch it.
I'm happy playing it in the meantime.
That's all you can do is put the ball, choke up on the sports aspect of things, choke up on the bat, put the ball in play, and just don't strike out. But hey, pitch it. You never know what's going to happen, right?
Exactly, right. You got to try. Yeah.
Hey, you guys are artists too, and I kind of put it the same thing as I was talking to my guest yesterday. He's like, "Man, I love writing songs. It gives me therapy. It's something I do. But man, if I get something pitched to me that's just a better song, well, crap, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to record that thing." So a lot of times, do y'all get pitched songs and you just kind of feel like instantly just have that connection for y'all that you're like, we got to go step in the studio and record this?
We haven't had that happen often. I will say that this year we had a really cool experience. It wasn't necessarily like a developed song pitched to us, but we had a guy in Wilmington who, he's not a musician, but he is a lyricist. So he writes songs, like the words of songs. And he came to us and said, "I love your style. I love your music. I really want you to write to these lyrics." And so we had the opportunity to create a song called Whiskey Remembers through those lyrics. And that's actually a single that's releasing next for us. And it was a really cool experience. The lyrics grabbed our attention. We looked at it. We were like, this is something we really enjoy. We
fun for me too, because it's the most country song I've ever written. And I have grown up being a diehard Garth Brooks fan, and country music in general, especially that 90s country sound. I love that era of country music. And so to create something that felt like it was kind of sitting in that vein, I really loved the whole experience. So it'll be coming out soon. You guys will get to take a listen yourselves and see what you think.
Yeah.
Well, what I think is it's just going to be a damn good song, and just like Found My Love across all the digital platforms. We got to take a quick time out here. It is the Backstage Pass. I get to talking and I just don't stop, but we got to pay those bills here at Bangtail Whiskey and our friends at Honky Tonk Texas. More to come here with Lynn and Quinn on the Backstage Pass, of course, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com and presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey. And of course, Honky Tonk Texas out there. Be sure and check out honkytonktexas.us. More with Lynn and Quinn here on the Backstage Pass. And of course, coming up, we're going to do a Texas two-step today at about 4:35 today. Rivertown Saints coming here on the show coming up today as of 4:30-ish today on the Backstage Pass. More to come with Courtney Lynn and Quinn. Stay tuned.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And some big things in the works for the show. Be sure to stay tuned for some upcoming announcements you might want to know about, too. Only a few people know we've got some things in the works here for the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Football Friday coming up this week as Vider takes on Brazosport. CajunCountryRadio.com. Our partners there. You can hear the game there starting at 6:30 with kickoff coverage there. And, of course, a lot of fun with college football and the NFL kicking off this week. Some more coverage out there across the stations, too. And also catch us at HighTideCountry.net. Back here presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and, of course, Honky Tonk Texas. Visiting with Courtney Lynn and Quinn here on the show. Getting ready to celebrate just some great music that's out there. So let me back up here because even 2021, I got a chance to check out the song Reminiscing, and I felt that close connection to that one. Let's get a little kind of backstory timing, and for every good song, there's a good story behind it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially for my music. I don't know why I do this to myself. I write about like the deepest, most painful parts of my life and then just share it with everyone. So maybe I'm oversharing. I don't know. This song's no exception. I was going through a really difficult time with a couple family members, one in particular. And this person, struggles with addiction. And I was just kind of at a place where I was feeling frustrated about that. And I've written a couple songs about this time period, and just trying to figure out my own self-worth and where I fit into this storyline with this person and how to set up boundaries and how to be good to myself and still have, compassion and empathy for this other person. And so it's really just kind of a stamp in time of where I was at. But I think also a lot of people can relate to that experience. And so I'm happy to be vulnerable enough to share that with other people, because a lot of people have, come up to me and said, like, it's nice to have a voice to that experience.
Absolutely.
That's a terrific song, no doubt. It really brings out the harmonies and kind of what you guys are kind of, meant for each other there too at the same time, and just sharing all those cool sounds that are there, the vibes. And I can't wait to get to a live show one of these days to check you guys out live, whether it be Nashville or somewhere, any part of the country. Well, I tell you what, time for me to stop talking because I do that best here. That's what they pay me to do here on the broadcast. But at the same time, you guys have got to play one of the two songs today. And of course, the new single, Found My Love, across all those digital platforms. And of course, the new one coming out here in a few weeks. I guess the good place to start the single.
Yeah, let's play it.
Found My Love. Yeah.
All right. It's all yours.
They say these are the best days. You don't know it till they're gone. And I move with you like the rock in my step. Anywhere you go, I'm home. I think I might have found my love. I think that I'm in love. You know my dear. I think I might have found my love. Oh, I think that I love you. You're moving all the right ways. When I look at you, my whole world stops. I'll stumble right through my case, yeah. Oh, but baby, you're my rock. You do make me want a little bit more of you. I think I might have found my love. I think that I'm in love. You know I do, yeah. I think I might have found my love. Oh, I think that I love you. Oh, you know
want a little bit more of that song. I want some more music.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
They're like on point. I'm just sitting here, like, just my head back and forth and moving the shoulders a little bit. And I'm like, this is one of the rising female groups. And that's why we do what we do here on the Backstage Pass, is bring you guys the best of the best when it comes to talent. Courtney Lynn and Quinn back here on the Backstage Pass. And again, a fantastic song, Found My Love. Now, did that come easy as far as you guys and the relationship with the songwriting? Did it all just kind of fit when that song just come out and you guys, I believe, was July 31st, y'all released that?
Yeah. So it's interesting because I think that song was one of those songs that just came to you, like, and like,
Not really, actually.
No?
Yeah, like the guitar pattern came to me and I was like, I like that. It's a little funky, but I started getting my head about it. I was like, I think it's a little bit too like outside of our genre, you know? So I sat on it for a while. I wrote a verse. I liked it. I sat on it for like a year and a half. And then finally one day she went to the grocery store or something, and I just was going through my recordings of all the half songs that I've written and melodies. It's like, I think I'm going to finish that one. And then at that point, it did all come out at once.
I guess that's what I'm thinking.
And and I don't know, we just fell in love with the final product. And finally, Quinn was like, listen, I don't think we should overthink, you know, what our music sounds like. I think we should just write what we want to write and love the music and put it out there and, you know, just go with it.
Not to say that you shouldn't care about what you write or even like, you know yourself, but it's kind of the opposite of that. It's like, feel what you feel, write what you write, love what you write, and share that. Don't overthink like, oh, does it fit in this genre? Does it fit in that genre? Because if you think of all the best artists in the world, I mean, like Queen has like a rock song, and then they have like a pop song, and then they have like, you know, some kind of Bohemian Rhapsody is a theater song, you know, like if you think about it. So whatever, do what you feel, you know.
That's what I say too. And y'all done that too, because I mentioned the harmonies are just so amazingly well done. You guys kind of feeding off each other, the sounds, and knowing, like I said, when to come in with certain notes and the powerful the riffs on the guitar. I love that. But talk about this, because, and I read somewhere, y'all were winners of a national songwriter contest. Tell me about this, because this was a big deal. This really showcased a lot of the songwriting potential you guys have, no doubt.
Yeah, that was actually for one of Courtney's like older songs that she wrote before I like really came into the picture. We sing that together now at a lot of our live shows, but
the song's called Change, and
it was Wandering Soul.
It was a Wandering
Yeah.
Soul. I'm just happy to have the award. I don't know. Sorry.
No, it was
Was it?
Soul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but both of those songs are songs that I wrote, you know, during about the same time period. And I was really focused on lyricism at that time. In particular, I really wanted to write like poetic songs. And it's always an honor to have your songwriting recognized in that way.
Another beautiful one y'all did off the EP Remiss was it led off the song, and I always say a good song sets the tone for any EP out there, record, Tired, which was something that we all can really relate to when it comes down to it, or at least get through that message as everyday life, the grind is for anybody out there. How did this one come together?
Oh, this is a funny story. So we have these really good friends. They're actually still our really good friends, and they were having some struggles. And Courtney, like she mentioned before, usually tends to write about her own personal life, but we had a neighbor who kind of like loved our music and listened to our new songs and stuff like that. And he was in the music industry as well. And one day he was like, you know, I really love your songs, but they're all like really kind of sweet sounding. I would like to hear something with a little more grit. And so it kind of gave her some inspiration. And she took the story of our friends not having such a good time in their life and created Tired. And
yeah, so be careful when you're friends with musicians.
We honestly thought that they had no idea that the song was about them until about 2 weeks ago. They were like, we know it's about us. It's okay.
Oh, because they went on to get married, you know, and now I'm like, really like, oh, I hope you never know that I wrote the song about you.
Yeah, so funny story. Yeah.
I love that too. We got one more from the ladies coming up here on the Backstage Pass. The last time out of the show. Don't forget Rivertown Saints coming up today about 4:30 here on the Backstage Pass. So presented by Bangtail Whiskey and of course our friends over at Honky Tonk Texas. Check out the sponsors' websites there at the bottom of the screen. Check us out at hightidecountry.net. And of course, the Sports Guys podcast.com with a lot of sports and music stuff. It's a grand slam of two of my favorite things, sports and music kind of matched together, and we do it well here on the platform, no doubt. More with Courtney Lynn and Quinn here. It is the Backstage Pass. Stay tuned.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And coming up tomorrow on the show, looking forward to talking to one of the legends in the business. And, of course, Grand Ole Opry members. They just put out a new album August 18th. It's Ricochet, and one of the longest members there, Heath Wright, is going to come by here on the platform. And, of course, here in a few weeks, we're still trying to track him down. But he will be here on the show. Josh Turner here on the Backstage Pass. Looking forward to that one here. And you can check him out at hightidecountry.net. Of course, the Sports Guys Podcast.com, presented by Bangtail Whiskey and our friends over at Honky Tonk Texas. Back here with Courtney Lynn and Quinn. I just love the name of that group. Courtney Lynn, Quinn Russell here joining us here on the show. I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Something new, fresh, or is it something that's out right now? What are we going to hear?
I'm gonna let you take a pick.
Oh gosh.
We had one in mind, but you know what? Let's do this is an old one and a new one.
Right.
This is the song I put out years ago on my solo album.
Mm-hmm.
But Quinn and I have really loved playing it together, and we love the message, which is just about, not being afraid to take the side roads in life.
Yeah.
And so we've recorded that song with Off the Row Studio in Nashville, and it's going to be coming out soon under the two of us. So let's play that one.
All right, sure. Why not? You get a sneak peek of how the new version goes.
We love that here on the show.
They say that time is all but lost. You turn 30, just pack it up and count the cost. But I don't believe them anyway. My life is full and there's things I've yet to do today. So I'll just write my songs, watch the leaves fall, the river moving right along. And ooh, I know I'm taking side roads, gotta let me go my way. They raise a rally, but I'm happy and free. They say that I was wasting time. It's a long shot, even if you get it right. There were days I gave it up. Those voices flooded in, not right along with them. I'll send them on their way. 'Cause that white picket fence just doesn't draw me in. Ooh, I know I'm taking side roads, gotta let me go my way. They raise a rally, but I'm happy and free. Yeah. I'm happy and free. And why don't we just fight? Rise up, show them why we make the sacrifice. It may pay to roll the dice, and ooh, I know I'm taking side roads, gotta let me go days around me, but I'm happy and free. Yeah. I'm taking sorrows, I'm happy and free. I'm taking sorrows, I'm happy and free.
I'm in concert mode. It's almost the weekend here on the show. And I tell you what, I'm ready to go see something live. And I'm going to see something live at CourtneyLynnandQuinn.com. So you guys, make sure you check that website out and see where they're at coming up with some of those gigs. Because if I was in and around Nashville or somewhere up there going toward the Northeast, I would catch them in a heartbeat, no doubt. Amazing harmonies, and the story is amazing out there. Again, Found My Love, the current single across all the digital platforms. Back here on the Backstage Pass. Love you, ladies. Love the way it sounds. It's fantastic. It's new, it's fresh, and it's something that country music needs here. No doubt about it, too. Well, I'll tell you what, I got to jump into a little rapid fire here, have a little fun with you, ladies, and enjoy this, because I always ask a series of funny questions, and you never know what's going to come out from which is cool there. Good thing is no right or wrong answers. All right. When you first met, who won the food fight, or who won the food battle when it came to favorite foods? Who got to take each other out for their first favorite food?
Oh, I definitely win on the food. I win always on the food.
Cooking, take out, a little bit of both?
Everything.
I've learned to cook. I've learned.
Good, because I'm terrible at it. I don't do it in my household. In fact, my wife knows I don't do nothing. She's the cook, and whatever is put on the table, I just eat it. And if I don't, I go hungry.
Good move.
That's just the rules. And that's what I tell my daughter now, too. I'm like, hey, just eat what you eat on the table, and you can't be a picky eater anymore. Well, I guess she can. She's only 3. But at the same time, we try to put it there, eat the vegetables, eat what's there, whatever else, because Daddy does not cook, and he ain't afraid to admit it either when it comes down to it. Favorite, I guess, hobbies together, separately, away from music?
Well, I'm a nerd, and my hobbies are like metal detecting, and
she's like a 70-year-old man.
Yeah, I like to do
70-year-old men. No offense, but
no, for real. I like collect rocks, and I like to do puzzles and read, and zen hobbies.
Metal detects, collecting rocks, collecting coins.
Why don't you just talk about your hobbies now?
I like him a little bit more of a active hobbyist. I love snowboarding and anything outdoors, like mountain biking or pretty much any kind of sport. We just signed up for beach volleyball, and I'm so happy because I was like, I was missing the athleticism in my life. So anything that's a fast pace, I have a tendency to be told that I have
and yang.
Quinergy, so that's a real thing.
Quinergy, I like that.
Yeah.
Which is good there. All right, whether it be a cover song or something else you wrote, or it could be original, what was the first song you each got to sing live on stage? First ever song?
Separately or?
Separately, and together.
Oh,
let's do both.
God.
Oh, I started out in church, so I don't even remember the first song, but a church song for sure.
One of the first songs that comes to mind for me is one of my first karaoke contests. I sang "Believe" by Cher, and I won.
And she sings that song to this day at karaoke.
I do.
And then together, was there one that you got first became a group? And of course, like I said, doing that, what song comes to mind? Singing together.
Yeah. What was the song we used to do all the time together?
Oh my gosh. Jeez. You're putting us on the spot. My memory is that of a 70-year-old man as well.
Burning House. Isn't that what it's called?
I don't know.
No, Burning House.
Oh, yeah. Burning House by Cam, I think. We did that one.
Okay. All right. That's one to remember.
That's a struggle.
Oh, the struggle. That took a while.
I love that. Well, I'll tell you what, the story is fantastic. See, I told you you'd pass with flying colors. I love it out there. Found My Love is across all the digital platforms. Make sure you guys go download, give them both likes out there. Courtney Lynn Quinn Russell, known as Courtney Lynn and Quinn. And of course, give them a follow across all the social media, CourtneyLynnandQuinn.com. I appreciate you ladies joining me here on the platform. Hope you had a great time, and come back anytime to promote any kind of new music.
Absolutely. And for all the listeners out there, if you're not already following this, which I'm assuming you are because you're watching, do it more. Keep following. This is awesome. It's such a great platform. Thank you for having us. And I do have to do a little shameless plug to Off the Road Studio in Nashville, because this is some of the we are so excited about the music coming out, and they had a lot to do with it, and the quality is incredible. So we're very thankful, and we just have to say thank you to them as well. So
and the next single drops. What was the date? Give us the date again.
It's
Ooh,
actually
we don't have a
gonna be-
specific
we don't have a
date yet,
specific
but-
date, but it's going to be the end of September, and it's
Okay.
called Whiskey Remembers, and that was done with Off the Road Studio as well. So
Whiskey Remembers coming up real soon. TBA. Make sure you guys stay tuned to all the socials out there to be announced for those that didn't catch the acronym. But at the same time, the ladies have worked hard to get where you're at, and definitely we're going to stand behind you 110% here on the Backstage Pass. Appreciate the compliment out there too. Yes, if you're not following us, please do, because we've had a lot of amazing interviews we've done over the last 4 years, and still more to come, featuring groups such as Courtney Lynn and Quinn. Coming up here in a little bit, timeout, drink some water, and we're not done. Rivertown Saints going to join us, one of the hottest bands in country music north of the border in Canada. And of course, Taylor Borton coming on tomorrow, Heath Wright from the band Ricochet, and then Lemon Cash coming on Friday here on the Backstage Passes. We just keep pumping them out probably faster than you can download all the shows out there too. It is the Backstage Pass presented by Bangtail Whiskey in Honky Tonk, Texas. We'll see you soon back here with Rivertown Saints coming up here in a few. Take care.